das noch nicht sieht. Einfach wegmachen. Einfach mal.
Es ist jetzt Diskussion.
Hello everybody. Hello. Peter,
Hello.
Andreas.
Hi.
Hello, good morning,
Hello.
Gianfranco, with Bill and Francisco Garay here on the panel. Please go ahead.
So we have a complicated case. You really have to help us. We will start with the introduction, but perhaps I can just introduce the team. Andreas is here. Stanimir Georgiev, Andrea, our nurse, Linda is outside, and Dr. Tanase, Daniel will introduce us to the case. Just a second. Daniel, please.
Hello, everybody. A nice welcome to Munich. And we are ready to present our first case. This is male patient, 26 years of age. And the patient had a dysplastic tricuspid valve with moderate stenosis, ASD, VSD, and pulmonary stenosis. And the hemodynamic was balanced at the beginning, but however, at the age of 6 years, the patient received a Fontan-Björk surgery. At the age of 11, the Fontan-Björk was replaced by a 25 millimeter allograft. And at the age of 18, there was a Medtronic intact porcine bioprothesis implanted. Now we have a stenosis and a moderate regurgitation of this intact valve, but the patient had a history of cerebral embolism and is disabled. We have a protein-losing enteropathy with some periods of ascites, and we have atrial fibrillation. What we see now is pictures from CT. We see the enlarged right atrium, and we see the position of this intact valve. It's directed anterior, and then with a sharp angle to the left. And the plan is to implant Edward Sapien valve. Thank you.
Okay. So let's have the first angiogram.
Das ist das erste.
So you can see here the injection in the right ventricle. It is not such a small ventricle. What you can see as well is that there's at the moment...
we don't have the angios.
Oh, you haven't. So can we see the fluoro pictures, please? No. It's okay. Yeah, okay, here you see. So you see right ventricle. What you can see as well is that there is atrial flutter. He came with flutter to the hospital. We didn't do a cardioversion, so because we think we should do this perhaps after the procedure. And now, what we wanted to know is how does the balloon behave to the valve if we inflate a balloon there, because of this rectangular relationship of the inflow to the valve. Normally it is the case if you put in a valve in a tricuspid position that everything gets aligned as soon as you inflate the balloon, then the valve and the long axis of the balloon got perpendicular. So we wanted to test it, and we took the first balloon. This is a 6 centimeter wax balloon. Next. And you see what... we depicted an indentation. Next one, please. Here you can see it very clearly, and the next one, because we made a caudal projection. Here it is. So this is our landing zone, more or less. And this is relatively small. If we can see the other picture, the lateral view, please. Switch to the lateral, please. Yeah, here you can see, what you can't see are the measurements which are below. So X1 is 22.5 millimeters. So it's relatively small for a valve of 31 millimeters. So our intention was to dilate it with a high pressure balloon, and we thought because it is a 31 millimeter valve and we want to put in perhaps a 29 Sapien, we took a 26 millimeter Atlas balloon, and you see a lot of attempts to get it there. So this is too high, as you see, this is too high, this is too high. This could be okay, but then it popped up and it was too high as well. Next, please. So what we did then, we keep it fixed. So what we did then, we took a Mullins balloon, as you can see here. This is a 25 millimeter Mullins, and if perhaps we can have the look AP. The other projection, please. The other projection, yeah, that's it. And if you now have a look when the balloon deflates, then you can see the indentations. I do it very slowly. So it's still up. Here it comes, you see, where the indentations are. And this distance is about 27 millimeters. And I think it is obvious that probably this is the valve. And you see the angle of the valve to the outflow tract. And in this case, we cannot yield a good alignment of the balloon to the valve. So if we now go with a 29 millimeter Sapien, what would happen? What would you do and what would you recommend to us?
Well,
Gianfranco?
Yeah, I think I would go by using a ASD sizing balloon in order to make, more gentle inner image of the anatomy, and then probably move the guide wire on the other side. Probably it would be better for the alineation. But first of all, I would image or interrogate just by using a ASD sizing balloon, just to have a
So Peter, this is Bill Hellenbrand. It seems to me the valve is oriented, obviously, in an not perpendicular to the plane of the path, and I would be very concerned about putting a valve up in there like you want to without maybe straightening out the path where the valve is in, and whether you need to pre-treat that area with some type of stent so you could get a more defined landing zone. Because it seems to me that valve has just shifted. It is not aligned perpendicular to the plane of the connection.
Peter,
Yeah.
Gregor, very short. You know what I will ask,
This is exactly
right?
the problem, that we don't get an alignment, because I think it's so narrow to the chest wall, as we see in the CT, that there is no possibility to move as it normally does. Normally it shifts in the perpendicular way, and here it doesn't, obviously. We thought the same, that perhaps pre-standing could be a possibility, and then try to dilate the pre-stand in a proper way. Other opinions, Gregor?
Yes, well, just a question, what I will ask. So you say it's retrosternal, not that much space. Then we have this huge PA where I have some doubt if the measurement you did is really the nice landing zone. So very simple, the question. Yesterday you said you wouldn't need 3D in these cases. Wouldn't you love to have a 3D now? A rotational, some kind of fusion, some kind of overprojection?
Well, the thing is, of course, whatever imaging modality you use, you will not solve the problem. So we clearly see here that it's an alignment problem, which is when you remember the CT scan, even if we now had let's say an overlay with the CT scan, then we had the ring there where we did the measurement. So it would not help that much in this situation, I think.
Other comments in the audience? Go ahead, Joe. Yeah.
Peter, hi. Kevin Walsh here. Maybe use Palmas type stents, a couple of those to straighten it out, because they're very strong, and then maybe put in a covered Bentley stent, so when your new valve lands, you're not worried that it's going to end up in a space that isn't covered.
Don?
Yeah. Good point. On the to be honest, what my concern is, whatever we put in, perhaps we go a little bit back with our angiographies, because we have can we show once again the first dilation with the wax balloon, this one. I think what happens here is that there is obviously some narrowing in a way that has nothing to do with the valve itself. It is the outflow tract. So on the right side of the balloon, we have the valve. On the left side, we have probably the conduit. And so when we put in a stent now, we of course make this outflow tract even smaller. On the other hand, the 26 millimeter Atlas balloon showed that we are able to dilate it in any case. So okay, guys. So what shall we do? So we could do first the.
That was similar to my question of this has distorted the outflow tract. The initial picture with the pigtail and the apex of the right ventricle had a very different course. And I wondered if you sized this in that way with a wire down in the right ventricle that you might see a different image of this stent.
Okay, so what we could do is we could place the wire in the right ventricle, or perhaps with an even smoother wire, let's say an exchange wire, and take an amplet sizing balloon, for example. Then we see the whole silhouette of this outflow tract. Do you think this is an idea that would help us?
Not sure. Not really sure it would help us. I think you should try and do it and see if it does add anything to the information.
Yeah. Okay, so then I think we will prepare this and do this, and in the meantime, if you like, you can have another lecture, and we come back to you as soon as we have the information. Is that okay for you?
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, then see you in a minute.
Ich würde die 14er lange Schleuse jetzt da durchmachen, oder?
This case. Thank you.
Have a look at these pressures. But first we go to
Hello, welcome back.
Hello. So, hello, Gianfranco. We made the sizing, let's say, with the AGA balloon, and this is the result. What you can see is that where the X1 is, there is the outer margin of the bioprosthesis, and in the inner curvature of this balloon, there is the left margin of the valve. So this is the oblique diameter which we cannot overcome. And if we now have this sizing picture, we can see that we have now determined to say this is a supravalvular narrowing of about 2.2 centimeter in width. And when we now have a look to the pressure measurements on the upper level of the monitor, please. The camera on this, yeah, please show this. Switch to the camera, yeah. So here you see the yellow line is the ventricle and the blue line is the right atrium. Then you see that in diastole there is some stenotic component. And we do not know whether this stenotic component comes from the valve itself or is it an expression of the supravalvular narrowing. I tend to say the valve plays a role as well. So back to the angiography, please. If we could say, well, okay, then just put in a valve in the narrowing there, but then we would not catch the whole diameter of the bioprosthesis which is in place, and if there are some stenotic components inside, then we would be not very happy. So therefore we decided to put first an uncovered stent, an UNDRA stent, in the region where we put the measurements from X1 to X2, and this is about 38 millimeters. So we will take a 45 millimeter XXL UNDRA stent to overstand the whole region and to be sure that we open the bioprosthesis as well. And then afterwards, we decide to put in a valve. We do not fear that we will have some paravalvular leakages, because once we have the stent in place, we will see how the valve will orientate. And because the supravalvular portion of this conduit is so narrow that we do not fear that there will be paravalvular leakage. So what about that? Any comments?
I think it's a good plan, and I think you can make the next decision about the valve after you see how the stent lays in place. I think it's a reasonable thing to do next. Anyone else have any further comments about this? I think they're leaving you to make the decision. No one else wants to make a comment.
Okay. So we prepare the stenting. If you have some presentations more, you can come back after the next presentation.
All right. That sounds like a great plan. Good luck. We'll see you soon.
Okay. See you soon.
To come back.
Ich mache.
Yeah, hello guys. We are just about to post-dilate the stent, which we... Hello, Gianfranco, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfectly well. Please go ahead.
So can we see the fluoro PA? Okay, so that's it, how it looks like now. You see we placed the stent. Perhaps we can go one back. So we had really a hard time to inflate this balloon because when we started and I told Andreas he should inflate the inner balloon, he tried really hard and he didn't get it. So I did it by myself, and the only thing I did was I broke the syringe. Do you know what happened? I can tell you. I didn't uncover the stent. The long sheath was still in place, and it was stable enough. So now this is the inflation of the stent. We had the overlay of the sizing balloon before, so that we knew that we had the proximal part to be in the angulation just over this artificial line which you see there, and then catch the inner ring of the valve anyway. So that was how it worked. And in the end, we got this result, and we dilated it twice. This is, by the way, a 24 millimeter bib. And what we want to do now is to dilate it once more with a
30
millimeter balloon, which was the balloon which was on the overlay, just to shape it to the whole outflow tract. So here we go now. Andreas, please. The 30 millimeter wax balloon is this. I take the sheath a little bit back, just to shape the stent a little bit. Hopefully the stent will not, the balloon will not. Yeah, very good. Go.
I take it off, right?
Okay, you take it off.
John?
Okay, please store, speichern.
John?
Okay, so let's have a look how it looks like. So this is
Peter.
now our result. We have
Peter,
yes.
And Andreas, this is John Cheatham. Since we don't have the Bentley stent in the United States, and I was just talking to the representatives, and I guess it's approved throughout Europe. So the question I have, because I don't understand this at all, I understand about the valve, but the previous conduit, and is there any chance of, I'm assuming what you're going to do now is an ultra-high pressure dilation. Are you concerned at all about rupture of anything, not necessarily the valve, but however this crazy thing lies in there? And is there a use for instance, a cover stent, the B-graft stent that goes up to your 30 or whatever you wanted to? We have no experience with it, but I was just wondering your thoughts about covered versus bare, since you're using the bare Andra stent. What about a covered stent? Now, maybe there's no risk of rupture, but I don't quite understand all of this anatomy at the moment.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. And we could have used a covered stent as well.
Shall we do an angio through the long sheath?
Andreas wants to do an angio through the long sheath. I think Andreas do that, and I talk. Yeah, this of course could have been a good idea, but we were pretty sure that we will not have a huge damage now, because when we started to dilate this narrowing, we used a 26 millimeter Atlas balloon already. So when when we had a damage, then we had it done then, not now. We will do an angio now, and Andreas will do a hand injection through the long sheath to see how it looks like. But principally, yes. What we do now is, we can try to dilate it with a high pressure balloon and see whether there's recoil or not, because of course this diameter is far away from 29 millimeter of the bioprothesis. Principally, I would say yes. So this is as it looks like now. Seems that there is no extravasation, at least at the PA picture. And yes, I think, what do you think? Should we go with an Atlas balloon to get it a little bit larger, or what do you think?
I truly do not understand the anatomy here, what is going on, so even between the two planes, so I do not know what the risk of rupture is, so I think conventional wisdom of being careful might be better off to put a covered stent in there before you put a big balloon in there. I'm just not sure I understand the anatomy.
Okay, let me show one picture, which we did before. So when we started, we tried to dilate it with this balloon. This is a 26 millimeter Atlas balloon.
Yes.
So there must be some space without rupturing something. So therefore, I think we decide to go for that and dilate it a little bit larger.
Okay.
Is it fine with you? Yeah.
It's your call. I have never seen this type of anatomy before.
Well. Therefore, we selected this patient for today because we haven't seen it either, and we need your help.
No, I would just. I think.
Okay, so we go for the
26 balloon sounds good.
Okay, so let's go.
Okay. Peter, einmal noch schauen. Extravation, schau noch mal einmal.
Ja. Hast du das gesehen?
Aber ich weiß es nicht.
Andreas wants to have a second look to our last angiogram in order to avoid whether we have overlooked something. By the way, the patient is stable. We have an arterial line. The arterial pressure is about 65 to 70. So this looks relatively smooth.
Siehst du, was ich da meine, außerhalb von dem Stent?
So is there anything
Peter?
which could concern us?
Peter?
Oder ist
Yes.
Do you have a biplane system? Could you show us AP lateral simultaneously, or other angulations that we get an impression of the RPA ostium, of the cranial part of the bifurcation?
Yeah, well, we have biplane. Can we have both lines simultaneously? Probably not. If not, then show us the lateral, please. This is the lateral. So I clearly see the huge right atrium. I see the stent. The outflow tract above the stent, and the right ventricle in front of the right atrium. And I see some bubbles, unfortunately, but there's no left to right shunt, so yeah.
Ich glaube, es ist okay.
So Andreas thinks it's okay. I think so too.
There's a little bit of contrast outside of the bare stent.
Yeah, that's right.
But this could also be the normal anatomy that is there.
On the other hand, I mean, the
could be, Peter, that it's the valve which is more or less, as you said, which is more or less in there oblique, and that's the area that was above the valve annulus.
Okay.
So this is what I think.
Okay. So we take
you see more or less like a.
There are more comments from the floor, please, Neil.
Hi, good morning. Peter, I think you're preparing it really very nicely. So, I may have missed, but did you measure the diameter that you have there in this, what I assume is an RAO projection? Did you measure the diameter? Because I would be in favor of a dilation with a higher pressure balloon.
Yeah, I think you should go ahead then, based on everything we see there, try and make it a little bit bigger with a 26 balloon, and then you can consider what size valve you want to put in there based on the measurement that you obtain. John?
Yeah. Yes, Peter, I was, again, just looking at the balloon when you inflated this and looking at the stent afterwards. It looks like there's a fair amount of recoil from where your balloon. I didn't measure your balloon at the full inflation, but it didn't look like you had a big waist in your balloon. So I suspect there's a fair amount of recoil. And so I suspect, even that was low pressure, that the chances of recoil, even after your high pressure, is high. And I suspect you'll end up with an additional stent. I'm going to go back to what Bill said, and I said, I don't know what this anatomy is. And I think you will end up with another stent before you put your valve in, just for all the recoil that you get. And to me, putting the other stent, if that's the case, with a covered stent, just seems the best, depending on what your ultimate diameter is going to be. Because I just don't know. Yeah, see, so that's 20. You put it on a 24 bib. So it's going to need another stent of some sort for the recoil. So I guess, again, not having any experience with the Bentley stent, it just seems like a covered stent just gives you one more bit of protection in this complex anatomy.
I think you are right. If we look at this distance of 21 millimeter, we clearly had a larger balloon. We had a larger diameter when we inflated it with the balloon. So there is considerable recoil, and we should prepare this outflow tract more. And to be on the safe side, we can take a covered stent. I think that's a good idea. So next step we do is we put in a covered stent and then take the ultra-high pressure balloon in order to get a larger diameter. Is that fine with you?
All right, that's good. We're going to go on with the last lecture here while you go ahead and do that, okay?
Yeah, very good. Okay, see you then.
See you then. We're going to have our last lecture here on...
Hello again.
Huh? Hello, so here we are again, and we put in a covered stent. We can have the AP perhaps.
Melody.
So this
is delivery.
How it looks like now.
Machen wir ganz normal jetzt Melody.
Back.
Fertig.
So you see now we have perhaps 23 millimeters in inner diameter.
Delivery, genau.
And I would like to show you the dilation with the Atlas balloon.
Bisschen Alkohol über die Finger.
Just a second. This is the inflation of the... so...
Peter, what stent did you put in there?
Pardon?
What is this stent?
I didn't get it.
What size?
This is the 39 millimeter CP stent, and it is. Why can't I get? I would like to show you, but I'm not able to let it move. So we do it this way. On a 24 millimeter bib balloon, and this is the inner balloon. This is the outer balloon. And then we decided at this point to take the 26 millimeter Atlas balloon. And I show you in a second. The Atlas balloon. I can't put it forward. So this is the Atlas balloon. Sorry, can you perhaps from outside show us the dilation, Daniel, with the Atlas balloon? Because I wanted to show you the recoil of this dilation. Next. Next. Yeah, so one back. Yeah. So this is dilation with the Atlas balloon.
Da tut ihr die Kappe rein, oder nicht? Alles klar.
You see this oblique way the stent is sitting there. So these are up to 13 millimeter, and then there is some recoil. Once again. And so this is a fully inflated balloon, and then there is some recoil. Here it comes, okay? So now the question is, which valve should we implant? I think there are two possibilities. This is how it looks like now, 24, 23 millimeter in diameter. Any suggestions which valve would be the best?
Did it look the same on lateral? Was it pretty circular on lateral?
Yeah, we can see the lateral. Please, the lateral one. That is 25, but I think it's a little bit less because it's probably almost the same, you see. 24 perhaps.
Anyone in the audience suggest what kind of valve they put in here?
Peter, I'm still disturbing you, Gregor. Just a question one step back. Did you think about, did you perform an ascendance angiography in this retrosternal position with the ascendance right behind? Or put a pigtail in there during this inflations and recoil investigations?
I didn't get the idea. What do you think? That there is some structure behind that we have to be
there's
aware
the
of?
aorta behind, right? So you have a retrosternal compression of this MPA, and behind it the aorta. I ask myself if you would see a benefit in putting a pigtail there and getting an impression what the aorta is doing during your high pressure dilatations and during this making space for a valve. What do you think? Is the aorta necessary?
We can do is we can have a look for the coronary, if you mind, if you do not mind, because indeed we of course didn't check this, and there's a right coronary in somewhere, and because we scheduled this to put in a valve just without any expansion, so this is perhaps a good point, because indeed we dilate this portion there. I think there is, well, yeah, we can do this, and the right coronary is in the neighborhood there. We have a small pressure access in the right femoral artery, so we can do this, yeah. Let's do this. Then I get a 5 French sheath and we have a look for the right coronary artery.
So, if you're going to choose which size
but nevertheless,
which size valve are you going to consider doing, and which valve?
Well, yeah. So, well, of course, this is enough space for a melody valve. There should be a coverage of that. But when we saw this recoil of the Atlas balloon, we perhaps think it's better to have a stronger stent and take a 26 Sapien. So what do you think?
I would agree with that you need a stronger stent. So I would use the stent of the Edwards valve, and I think 26 would be a very good choice. I'm not. You can shoot the aortogram, but I think you've already achieved the size that you're going to pretty much achieve. But it'd be reasonable to check the aortic and the coronary. But
yeah, we will do that in a second. Can I have a wire to place? Aber ich brauche einen Draht, das hier zu checken.
Das weiß ich schon.
So everybody, we're going to continue through the break a little bit. So he's going to continue. If you want to go to a break and get coffee back there, we'll continue the case while you're getting coffee. We're not going to have a prolonged break, probably. We'll move on directly to the second session.
Okay. So we go on here, and you do as you like, okay?
Okay, go ahead and do it live. Go ahead.
Hello again.
Huh? You take it, yeah. Hello again. Hello. So here we are again, and we put in a covered stent. We can have the AP perhaps.
Melody.
So this
is delivery.
How it looks like now.
Genau. Machen wir ganz normal jetzt Melody.
Back.
Fertig.
So you see now we have perhaps 23 millimeters in inner diameter.
Delivery, genau.
And I would like to show you the dilation with the Atlas balloon.
Bisschen Alkohol über die Finger.
Just a second. This is the inflation of the... so...
Peter, what stent did you put in there?
Pardon?
What is this stent?
I didn't get it.
What size?
This is the 39 millimeter CP stent, and it is. Why can't I get? I would like to show you, but I'm not able to let it move. So we do it this way. On a 24 millimeter bib balloon, and this is the inner balloon. This is the outer balloon. And then we decided at this point to take the 26 millimeter Atlas balloon. And I show you in a second. The Atlas balloon. I can't put it forward. So this is the Atlas balloon. Sorry, can you perhaps from outside show us the dilation, Daniel, with the Atlas balloon? Because I wanted to show you the recoil of this dilation. Next. Next. Yeah, so one back. Yeah. So this is dilation with the Atlas balloon.
Da tut ihr die Klappe rein, oder nicht? Alles klar.
You see this oblique way the stent is sitting there. So these are up to 13 milliliter, and then there is some recoil. Once again. And so this is a fully inflated balloon, and then there is some recoil. Here it comes, okay? So now the question is, which valve should we implant? I think there are two possibilities. This is how it looks like now, 24, 23 millimeter in diameter. Any suggestions which valve would be the best?
Did it look the same on lateral? Was it pretty circular on lateral?
Yeah, we can see the lateral. Please, the lateral one. That is 25, but I think it's a little bit less because it's probably almost the same, you see. 24, perhaps.
Anyone in the audience suggest what kind of valve they put in here?
Peter, I'm still disturbing you, Gregor. Just a question one step back. Did you think about it? Did you perform an ascendance angiography in this retrosternal position with the ascendance right behind? Or put a pigtail in there during this inflations and recoil investigations?
I didn't get the idea. What do you think? That there is some structure behind that we have to be
there's the
aware
aorta
of?
behind, right? So you have a retrosternal compression of this MPA and behind it the aorta. I asked myself if you would see a benefit in putting a pigtail there and getting an impression what the aorta is doing during your high pressure dilatations and during this making space for a valve. What do you think? Is the aorta necessary?
We can do is we can have a look for the coronary if you mind, if you do not mind, because indeed we of course didn't check this, and there's a right coronary in somewhere, and because we scheduled this to put in a valve just without any expansion, so this is perhaps a good point because indeed we dilate this this portion there. I think there is, well, yeah, we can do this, and the right coronary is in the neighborhood there. We have a small pressure access in the right femoral artery, so we can do this, yeah. Let's do this. Then I get a 5 French sheath and we have a look for the right coronary artery.
So, if you're going to choose which size
but nevertheless,
which size valve are you going to consider doing, and which valve?
Well, yeah. So, well, of course, this is enough space for a melody valve. There should be a coverage of that. But when we saw this recoil of the Atlas balloon, we perhaps think it's better to have a stronger stent and take a 26 Sapien. So what do you think?
I would agree with that you need a stronger stent. So I would use the stent of the Edwards valve, and I think 26 would be a very good choice. I'm not. You can shoot the aortogram, but I think you've already achieved the size that you're going to pretty much achieve. But it'd be reasonable to check the aortic and the coronary. But
yeah, we will do that in a second. Can I have a wire to place? Aber ich brauche einen Draht, das hier zu checken.
Das weiß ich schon.
So everybody, we're going to continue through the break a little bit. So he's going to continue. If you want to go to a break and get coffee back there, we'll continue the case while you're getting coffee. We're not going to have a prolonged break, probably. We'll move on directly to the second session.
Okay. So we go on here, and you do as you like, okay?
Okay, go ahead and do it live. Go ahead.
Machen wir Folgendes. Jetzt gehen wir hier mal rüber. Genau, das muss da rüber. Und wir müssen das jetzt hier ranbringen. Guck mal so. Offen.
Hello, Peter. Peter, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, we can hear you. This is Bill Hellenbrand. We're back to you for find out what's going on with your case now.
Yeah, well, we are still preparing the valve, and but we are about to.
Jetzt mach du einfach weiter.
To go on in a second, so we just have to flush everything, and to put in the E-sheath and to connect the indiflator.
23, oder?
Yeah, but we haven't. We have to deflate it first. So we need a stopcock here. We need one Dreiwege hand.
So there's the right coronary angio you showed us, and it shows wide open.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, you can see the coronaries.
Die Klappe ist da schon drauf. Bitte.
You see the coronaries here.
Die Klappe ist da schon
Ja,
drauf.
Macht nichts. Einfach einfach jetzt. Wir machen es jetzt so. Okay. Geht auch.
Okay.
So this is the right coronary, yes. The lateral, yeah, the lateral is that. So we felt comfortable with that, and we want to proceed with a 26 Sapien now. I prepare to put in the E-sheath. Entlüft es einfach wie immer. Okay.
Yep. You want to show us how you're doing it?
Yeah, okay, well, I take out the long sheath now. Okay. Okay, here we go. Perhaps you can show
You show us live.
the table, the picture, yeah. Our table, what's on the table here. So now I take the 14 French E-sheath in the groin. Patient has 49 kilograms. Should be no problem. The label, Edwards label upward, so that the sheath comes in the right orientation. Have a look. Doesn't look bad. Perhaps we can advance it a little bit more. Yeah, this will do. Take the dilator out. Wire still in place. Flashing yellow, please. So there's not much to tell. So now we check the balloon once again. Okay.
You're going to load the valve, pull the balloon into the valve inside the patient in the IVC?
Sorry? Yes, of course, yeah. Well, this is, of course, easy. I hope it is easy to align the valve because the wire goes straight up, but we will see whether this is really the case. So there is a little bit. We opened the stopcock here, so I really have to adjust the volume once again here to be sure that it's 23 milliliters. So now we go. I put a stop on the valve here, and now we are ready.
Ich spüle es einmal durch.
Ja,
Wenn
habe
du
ich schon
den
gemacht.
Draht rausnimmst.
Habe ich schon gemacht. Also.
Okay.
So here's the valve. Goes in. Let's have a look. Show fluoro, please. We have an angulation. We see we have caudal 45 degrees. I think we go back now to PAP just to have a better alignment. So let's have a look here. So there is the valve already, and there's the sheath. I advance it further. So we seem to have plenty of space here. Okay, now the valve is out, and now I would like to align it a little bit to the markers above. Can you fix the table? Yeah. So here we go. I push the delivery stem. Okay, I think that will do. And now the rest we do with the fine tuning. Yeah, right. So this looks good. And now we advance the whole thing back to our target region. The wire has come back a little bit. Perhaps we can push it again a little bit.
I try, if you floor.
Yeah, that looks better. And we go back to 45 degrees caudal, because then we have a better alignment to the stand. Where can I see it? This is good. You have the wire in?
Yes.
Andreas? Okay. I take the valve, the introducer out of the valve. And now here comes the valve. Okay.
Do you want to separate it?
No, nothing. So this is absolutely no problem here. I think we just put it in midst of the covered stand. Perhaps it can be a little bit back outside the valve, because the foreshortening of the S. This is the S3, by the way, if you have seen on the delivery system. So we anticipate that it will foreshorten from the proximal part, so it can look out a little bit from at the caudal portion. So now we go back with our pusher. This way, and we are ready to implant. We will do it very smoothly. Perhaps I take one zoom larger. So this way. Okay. So here we go. Very, very slowly. We have all the time. Okay. Let's start, yeah.
Bisschen höher.
No, it's okay, because foreshortening is from down.
Ja, ich bin dabei.
Yeah. Here it goes.
You want to go in a little bit?
Yeah, go. Go. Okay, very good. So, all in, all the volume
All
in.
the way.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we go out. Pressure comes back. Yeah, it's perhaps a little bit, maybe a little bit higher, but, well, it doesn't matter in this case, I think, whether it sticks out a little bit more to the right atrium or not. And we surely have no problem with paravalvular leakage, because the skirt is high enough.
Well, the skirt is also in the covered stand.
The skirt is, well, perhaps what we can do is we can try to dilate once more, because perhaps we get a little bit better, perhaps we have the chance to get rid of these indentations a little bit more.
Okay.
All right, we have about 1 minute with you. Go ahead.
Okay, I go.
Okay, yeah.
Leuchten.
So,
Ist fest.
okay, out. Well, there's almost no recoil left. So we do an angiogram and we are ready. Give me the pigtail, please.
Kriegst du.
Okay, it's very slippery. Okay, go out. Yeah. Very good. We take...
Peter,
30,
did you use
20,
normal
30,
volume? Did you
50.
use any extra volume at all?
In this case, I didn't use extra volume, because I was aware that the 26 valve is already a little bit large for the stent, but otherwise, yes. So where's the pigtail? Here. So I think I will inject into the right ventricle and perhaps take the pigtail a little bit back to the stents, so that we have a good dye there in that region. So we take out the wire, go down to the right ventricle. We must about, oops, here we go. So this is the right ventricle. No, it's the left pulmonary artery again. Go back. Might be a little bit more difficult now because of the stent there. I think I need a wire.
You get one?
Yeah. No, now we got it. Yeah, this is the right ventricle. Okay, good. Yeah. Here we go. Where's the injection? This?
Ja, aber ich habe den 3-Wege-Hahn woanders hingemacht. Den kriegst du jetzt wieder.
Afterwards, we will do some
We're going to stay long enough to
pressure
see the
measurements.
angio, then we have to go back to San Donato, okay?
Okay.
Let's see the angio then.
Yeah, just a second. Give me a second.
Ich krieg das nicht ab.
Ist es freigeschaltet? 20, 30?
So, jetzt habe ich einen Dreiweger an.
Okay. So now the angio.
30 mit 20.
Yeah. There's no regurgitation, so that looks good. Can we repeat it from the lateral? Show the lateral, please. Lateral, yeah. So there's no regurg. Looks okay so far. We do the pressure measurements and then we are done.
All right, go ahead. We have 2 more minutes, so why don't you go ahead and do the pressure pullback.
Okay, so we do the pressure measurements and show you the pressures. So we need the pressure monitor, please. This Spiel, oder?
Hier ist ein Dreiwegerhahn.
Spülung auf blau. So we will have blue, the right ventricle on blue, and the IVC on yellow. So gelb und blau bitte.
Ja, eindeutig besser.
Yeah, that looks good. This is, yeah. So the difference of the end diastolic shoulder of the blue right ventricle to the yellow IVC pressure is markedly reduced, I have to say. RV pressure is perhaps a little bit higher, but not really. So overall, the difference is markedly reduced in comparison to the one before. Perhaps, yeah. Do we have the measurements from before, when we started?
Linda, können Sie noch mal gelb auf blau
So there's
am
perhaps,
Anfang?
there's perhaps 1 millimeter of mercury pressure gradient left in the end
Really,
diastole.
at end diastole, you have really virtually no pressure difference at end diastole. So that's a great result. Congratulations. It's a very tough case. You did a great job. Congratulations.
Well, thank you for your help, and see you later then.
See you later. Thank
Bye
you.
to
Can we
Milano.
go to San Donato now, please?
Du siehst das Ding da, ne?